properly.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rendezvous with Anza Saqib on CxO Global TV. CxO Global Forum is a knowledge sharing platform for all C-levels across the globe. It is an invitation only, membership exclusive for all chief investment officers and chief information officers, CTOs, CMOs, CFOs, all the executives and country heads from the world's largest and most influential companies. They're brought together by top journal editors, global analysts, and key thought leaders with a mission to identify key challenges in technology and new opportunities for innovation that will unlock value for their organizations. The forum is to get the global exposure, especially in digital transformation and innovation around the globe. So we welcome you all to come learn with us. Today as well, we've got a very special guest with us, Bertrand Viala. He is the founder and C-level at battle-tested consultant agency. And we'll learn more about the kind of work that he does from him. But what's also interesting is that he's not only the co-founder and consultant, but he's also a lecturer in geopolitics, intercultural management, and internationalization. So he is someone who is a key thought leader. He has also had exposure not only in Paris, Turkey, the Middle East, but also Pakistan. So there's a lot that we can learn from him. And today's topic is going to be very, very interesting. So, Bertrand, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much. I should be asking how are you today as well. In these days of challenges of all kinds.
Yeah, I know, right? The challenges are challenging, but at the end of the day, it's what's the thrill that keeps everyone interested and keeps us going. Especially post-pandemic, life had become so monotonous that I look at these things as a means of just reflecting back on ourselves. So, Bertrand, we know that you've got a very strong profile, and I've gone through your LinkedIn. You've had exposure all of that around the world. However, what I want to know is what is the turning point? What was the turning point in your career? Where did your journey begin? So, a little about your personal life, who you are, where did you come from, and I want to learn more about who you are first.
Perfect. Thank you so much for hosting me today. Appreciate that. It's a great opportunity. And as you said, I've been coming to Pakistan quite a few times, so I'm very happy to be connecting with you. I'm a French citizen. I'm French, but I grew up in Germany in a small village called Stetten am Kaltenmarkt, and I grew up later on in Berlin. So I come from a bilingual family, French and German. And after that, I spent a lot of my life as well in Germany, France, and for my studies in Canada and Turkey as well, part of my studies and my work. So I would say it's very hard for me to actually locate myself in some place. I'm not a world citizen. I don't believe that much in that broad definition, but I'm someone that's really interested in multiculturalism through my DNA and my background, but my family background, my cultural background with different languages in the family. So that's who I am. In terms of career, I worked in Germany as an analyst with French authorities as well. And I decided to go in the public, in the private sector, like over 20 years ago, after studying political science and international relations, especially focusing on negotiation and trade conflicts. So I decided I was recruited in a French firm who wanted to open a regional office in Turkey to do some actually risk management analysis and business development strategy for French and Turkish, I would say, multinational companies. So in key sectors in technology. So to be frank with you, when I started that thing, I just came out with a few years of experience as an analyst and working in public service and research, political science. So my business background that was at the time very weak. What triggered me was the fact that I was able to go back to Turkey to work there as a professional, to be using my Turkish knowledge, and of course, to be part of a very international team as I enjoyed to be. So it started like that, and then after that, I just spent the last 20 years after Turkey doing business ventures with partners in consulting and strategy, trying to teach companies how to get international, how to adapt their strategies in different countries. So I worked from Morocco to Ivory Coast to South Sudan, to some level in Iraq as well. I did work in Erbil and Baghdad at some level.
Wow.
In India, Pakistan, and other places, doing missions for our clients. So what I liked in that kind of environment as a consultant was to be on the field, was to offer good service for providing good information, risk management, and I would say business development perspectives for my client, for our clients, in many different environments. And I liked the international aspect, the openness that you need to have when you go on the ground. And then I came back. After that, I moved to the UAE for a while. I spent some time in Dubai, then I opened my office in Ras Al Khaimah in the Northern Emirates. And I decided to go back to France 2 years ago to open another business, which I'm heading right now. Of course, I'm supposed to travel a lot these days, but I can't so much because of the pandemic. But our mission with our company now is to capitalize on all the experience that me and my partners have had about how you get international when you're a small business or startup, or when you create a new business. How do you get international? It's so much more than just selling services or goods abroad. There's a mentality to be acquiring.
Absolutely.
That's the point. So that's what we're trying to do.
Right. Lovely. So, you really put something into perspective for all of us, because a lot of businesses feel that it's only big corporations that can go international, for example, like MNCs or FMCGs. But it's very interesting to note that even small startups or the SME sector has the potential. And now, thanks to the advancements in technology, in the 21st century, it's not impossible for smaller businesses or even like 2, 3 people companies to actually go ahead and do internationalization in their business. And that brings me to my second point, Bertrand, because in terms of your multicultural experiences, you've had the privilege and honor of working with some of the top-notch businessmen in the world. Why do you think that interculturality is what? First of all, what is it, and what does it entail? Why is it so difficult to grasp and implement? Why is it important?
Yes, it's a very good question. And it brings back to me to a discussion I had with some of my students last week in Paris about what interculturality is. So first of all, it's different from multiculturalism. Multiculturalism is more or less a social experience, the fact that you live with different cultures. Interculturality, for me, is a skill. It's a skill to be able, looking at it from a business perspective, of course, not from a social science perspective. It's a skill to be able to lead, to interact, to manage teams without having any kind of cultural barriers impeding your business. So that's what I would call interculturality. Basically, it's the capacity of a business leader to integrate people from different various cultural and language backgrounds into one single capacity team focused on providing results for the company and the clients. So that's the skill you need to have. Now, said that, it's not just enough to say what it is. You need to know how to do it and how much of a skill it is. So when you practice interculturality, it's actually a real practice. It's not just about acknowledging that people in your company come from different cultural and identities, have different languages. That's not enough. You need to be able not only to have a system, but also a mindset that enables you to create a common vision and language that enables all these different perspective, cultural backgrounds to merge into one single focus. It's not about assimilating everyone into one single identity. And because when you're part of a company, when you recruit people, you want these people to come with their own assets. If you're a good leader, if you're a good manager, you don't want to change people into becoming robots of your like, even though there's of course, a commonality that you need to develop, but it's about pushing them with their own individual skills to be achieving the results. So this is the balance. I mean, how do you merge it?
I'm just going to interrupt you briefly then. Talk about when you talked about people not being robots, right? A lot of there's a lot of concern now, especially post-pandemic, where jobs have become insecure. 1.2 billion people, according to Harvard Business Review, have lost their jobs post-pandemic, and now another scare is that men will be replaced by machines soon because there's so much artificial intelligence and everything, especially in these days. Um, how do you think interculturality can play a role in securing and making jobs more secure?
That's a very good question because I think it's pervasive to everyone around the planet. And because basically interculturality is something that I don't see for now how you could replace it with, I would say, AI or machines, even though some machines can really, AI robots can actually translate languages very quickly. But you need interculturality can actually cannot be replaced by a machine or by any kind of sophisticated software because it's a human skill about bringing people together in a way that puts everybody's cultural identity into a positive force. So it's a matter of the mindset of a leader. So you cannot replace it. Now, of course, besides robots, even though you can, of course, integrate into some AI, you can integrate some biases in AIs. This is you cannot replace a human intercultural team with a team of robots. It's not going to work. Robots, AI will be robots, so they are processes, mechanical processes. When you create interculturality, you bring that capacity together with different people to actually be able to create new ideas, and that is absolutely irreplaceable. And I tend to think, to address your issue, Anza, that the fact that the world is still globalizing despite what we're witnessing these days, the fact that AI is becoming an important part of the globalization processes as well. This is actually why interculturality will be actually even more important now. And because you will need, if you want to succeed as a business globally, online or not, you need to be able to bring skills from different parts of the world into achieving one single goal. And no one can replace that. And this is going to be a very strong differentiating factor in the coming decade, I think.
Absolutely, some very, very valid points made, Bertrand. And, thank you for making us think about thoughts that probably never even came to our mind because, all the time we keep thinking that, okay, the future isn't here. I mean, we'll think about this 5 years later or 10 years later, but the future is here and now, ladies and gentlemen. And at the rate that the world is slowly progressing, we need to make quick decisions, but effectively. And there's a lot of potential. The world is our oyster. We've got a lot of interculturality happening day to day around us, and I know people like Bertrand have been contributing to it. However, Bertrand, when we talk about interculturality, right, why is it relatively harder to implement in certain workplaces? Because, with MNCs and FMCGs, there's always, it's part of their, policies or part of their original framework that you have to make workplaces more inclusive, and that in itself brings interculturality. However, what about those SMEs or startups in particular who cannot afford maybe a dedicated HR team or a dedicated operations team? How can they bring about interculturality in their business?
Yes, I think when you talk of smaller companies like startups or SMEs, there are two factors to be taken into account. The first one is what kind of business are they doing? Because as you know, there are capacities, business that are born to be global. If you work in a startup like an online platform, at some level, if you're working online exclusively, you are part of the global value chain. So at some point, your DNA as a company will integrate interculturality per se. So after that, if you're in that situation where you build a business from wherever you are in Pakistan, India, or whatever, Japan or China or France, that is meant to be going online and selling services and goods around the world, then I would say your business model has to integrate the way you will be able to recruit talents or digital nomads around the world who will be able to provide services. So I would say in that regard, if you're in that situation, you need to address two things. First of all, it's not just about the language. Do you have the mindset, a global mindset that will enable you to actually identify and detect potentials for people who will be working for you online or who will be able to promote your business online. That's the first thing. Second is also how do you project partnerships around the world? If you're working as a global business that is meant in its DNA to work globally, are you able with your own legal and company policy, even if you're a small firm, to be drafting agreements that are bringing trust to your potential partners and distributors around the world? So that's, I would say, are the two main challenges for global businesses. Now, if you are in the other range of businesses that can go international, that start with a local business and then they expand and want to address new markets once their business in their home market has been successful, then that's the very, I mean, you don't need to have, and the first thing you need to have actually is to have some training. You need to be able to train yourself to change your vision. I've talked to a lot of business owners in French towns, in small towns, not in Paris or in other big places, but in small towns. And one of them I found absolutely amazing because he has, I won't name him now, but he really impressed me with his innovation in dairy products and industries. And he's developing like systems that really have a strong potential around the world. And he told me, but I'm just like from a small town in France, not even a town, a village, and I've got this business. Why should I be going to Dubai or Singapore and everything? And he said to me, I'm so local, I'm not global. I said, it's not true. I mean, you need to be actually changing your vision. And once we took him to a business trip with us as part of our services to the UAE and other places, and he realized that people were having a demand for this. So now he's looking at new change in his firm because he changed his mindset. So when you are a company that started locally, if you're a small firm, and if you actually think of yourself as your home market owner, and you don't have the capacity or even the thinking, the belief that you can actually sell your products somewhere else, then of course you cannot do it. But if you start having that mindset and acquiring that globality in your vision, then you actually start doing step by step. And he chose what was the most logical thing to do for him. He actually came back home. He started recruiting somebody, a business assistant, a business development assistant who would speak English and who had a bit of a background in international markets. And now he starts promoting abroad. So the key point for people like that, for owners like that, is to actually travel a bit. If you can, these days is more difficult, and try to talk to other people to see how your product is perceived and get the conviction yourself that you can sell somewhere else. And then get some help by recruiting somebody who can assist you in that process if you don't feel confident. It's just a very simple step, but it all starts with your vision and the way you actually project yourself in the world. That's how it is.
Absolutely right. So, Bertrand, just like let's say if we take a test case. So, if there is a startup in Pakistan and they want to do business internationally, what kind of doors and avenues can you open for them?
Well, I think the first thing I would first of all do what we do with all our clients, and I think if they don't need to do it with us or with anyone, they can do it themselves if they like, is first of all to look at where do you stand. So what do you want to achieve by going global? Going global is just a very broad concept. You need to know what you want to gain from going abroad. Is it to gain new markets? Is it to actually acquire new products? Is it potentially to actually transform your business? Or do you want to sell your product or services the way they are to an international market? So first of all, do your self-auditing, and we can help you do that with yourself. Then after that, where do you need to go? Because going global, it's not just going online and then people are going to flock to your website or going to call you for services around the world. You need still to be choosing where is the most logical place for you to be exposing your services and products. So try to think according to world demand, do a bit of research or hire people who can do research for you in your firm to locate where exactly the highest demand would be for your services and product, and try to understand the yield between what you're offering, what people want in that market. Once you've decided that, then it's time after that for you to build up your roadmap. And this is where we can help you. Then after that, of course, if you talk to people like us, we'll be able to actually co-project, co-manage this project with you and organize some access to some local partners, authorities, and I would say potential distributors. You will need to find at some level somebody who will be your local importer or distributor of services and products, your agent, whatever you call it, and what is your model, before you even go by opening an office. People like us, consulting firms like us, we try to train you and teach you how to do it and potentially manage it for you for a while until you are empowered to do it yourself. You shouldn't be hiring a consultant that will basically be on your back all the time and basically live off your business for years and years to come. If you hire a consultant or a service provider, then it's got to be somebody who's got to be helping you manage it for yourself and empowering you into doing the business and access to that new market. That's how I would say that. But as I said to that client, it's just a question of
Sorry, go on.
no, it's a matter of
Go on.
vision. It's just a matter of
Yeah,
vision and a matter, of course, of choosing the right project management tools that you need to have. It's a very simple. It takes time, but it's not that complicated. It's just a matter of organizing your business properly.
Absolutely. Bertrand, I'm going to ask you this, that what do you think, just three very important keys to achieving success in successfully intervening in global value chains? So one was, as I made of your conversation, research is important. Getting the right
Definitely.
partners is important. Which is the third element that you want to stress upon?
Well, I think it's being able to being very honest with what you can do and what you can't. I mean, self-auditing is absolutely essential because it's about not overestimating. Try to not overestimate your capacity and try to not underestimate it. Either way, it's not a good thing. And for that, it's a simple explanation. You need to be doing, based on the two other things that we said, which is the research and the capacity to know the right person who will provide you the proper feedback and access potentially. What is your business capacity right now? What is your organizational capacity? There's no point for you if you're like a 5% company to pretend you're going to open a big office in Burj Khalifa in Dubai. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Even if you had the money, it wouldn't be suitable to the business. It doesn't help. So try to figure out something that is a realistic goal, and that's based on your research and your own auditing capacity. That's really the third thing you need to know. Not to mention, of course, if you have that, you need to have that mindset. If you're totally stuck on your home market, it's fine as well, but it's not. You won't have the same capacity to project yourself into a new successful venture with partners abroad. So that's very important to. That's basically the foundation. If you don't have the mindset, then you're not going to be successful because you won't be able to identify the opportunities that are going to be in front of you.
Absolutely. And coming towards the end, I have 5 rapid fire questions for you. That means you're only going to get 5 seconds to answer them. This was a surprise, but these are okay. More personal, just to lighten up the mood. So, what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
What motivates me? Well, the one thing is really to actually meet people and get the thrill of opening new doors and getting new ideas. That's what I mean. I'm someone who's very social, as you may see. I'm someone who's really internationalized, and I can't wait to meet my teams who are located around the world, or people like yourself, Anza, and having this great conversation. That's what motivates me in the morning.
Great, awesome. What is your number one priority for your business right now?
Number one priority is actually to create a new, I would say, client experience online to actually change the way international business consulting is being practiced in France. I'm not. I think this sector, the way services provided in my country, France, needs some serious evolution. And I think this is my work now every day with my team to actually try to figure out how to change the client experience and the business experience we provide.
Absolutely. It's all about creating value for the client by adding to their experience. So hence we no longer have chief sales officers, but more like chief experience officers, because
exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was just reading this report in Bloomberg the other day, and it said that those companies who invested in their client experience in the year 2020 did 47% better sales and growth than those who hadn't. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was all about the experience now. Bertrand, the next question. So, name any one other company and CEO that inspires you and why.
Well, I would say I would go for Tim Cook.
Okay, Tim Cook.
Yeah, because I think of course the brand itself is Apple is actually an excellent. I mean, it's a historical, I would say, brand now. But what I really liked about this CEO is that he came after somebody who had an extremely strong identity. And who actually was able, despite that, and in a time where other competing models were coming up in the tech industry, was able to consolidate both a brand, an identity, and a valuation. And I think it's not that easy at all. And I have a great admiration for that kind of performance. I mean, you might add up some other businesses that have been more, I mean, a little newer, that have new business models. But I think there's a very strong value and capacity in actually changing an older business into something that is creative and creating value both financially and I would say in terms of service and client experience. So that's definitely someone I would actually quote in that category.
Amazing. So, what is the best piece of business advice that you've ever gotten?
The best piece of business advice that I ever got was I have two in mind, but I will go for the one that is the most practical for everyone, and that's not only for international business, for everyone. Be friends with your banker. Don't cross your banker.
Be friends with your banker. So that's a very,
Yeah,
very
make
important
them
one
happy.
indeed.
It is,
Okay,
yeah. That's a very
lovely.
strong, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is battle tested consultant? Actually, what was your thought and reasoning behind naming it battle tested consultant?
Yeah, it's a very good. We come that question very often. Of course, it's nothing to do with war and security. It's mostly the fact that when you do international business strategies, I mean, you can look at it two ways. Either you can be someone who's actually working in an office, which I am right now because of the situation, and you actually do work on facts that are reported to you to build a strategy. But the real thing and the real thrill and the real benefit of international business is to go on the ground and experience that interculturality and see for yourself what the needs of your clients in those remote markets are. So, I mean, you cannot do international business at some point if you don't travel, if you don't look for yourself. So you need to have battle-tested people who will advise you, be it from consultants or from your firm, but people who know what it's like to be in the market you're targeting. Otherwise, means like the simple fact of trade or business, know your clients. So if you never visit your
Very much
clients,
seen, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So be on the field, be battle tested, and at some point, yes, you will experience setbacks, you will experience cultural shocks as well, and unexpected developments in the way your service or product is interpreted or not. And this is the only way to grow international. So go on the field. Not necessarily on the battlefield, of course. I don't advise that, but just go confront yourself with reality. That's what I would say.
Right. So, unfortunately, we've come towards the end of this session, and Bertrand, it was an enthralling experience. We learned so much from you, and we hope to keep hearing more and more from you because there's so much knowledge sharing that's happening. But towards the end, I have two very important questions for you. First one being, why are partnerships and linkages so important in success for a business?
Well, because you cannot develop any idea or any business value if you don't. It's just the same as knowing your clients. You need to be able to get skills and capacities that are not inside your company. All companies, including MNCs, do build partnerships. This is how value chains are created around the globe. So linkage between companies is important, but also between companies and research and development entities like universities, for example, to promote innovation. So you need to be able to, if you're a company or university, you need to be able to actually get the bridge down so that some great ideas are not lost somewhere and are transformed into something that potentially can change the world. So that's what I would say. There's no value without partnerships. There's no value creation without exchanging ideas and sharing perspectives.
Absolutely. And that's what we focus on at CxO Global. So transformation, innovation, internationalization, and global value proposition for knowledge, which is very important, these exchange of ideas. Bertrand, thank you very much for your time. And it's been an honor and a privilege. And we hope to hear more from you. Ladies and gentlemen, those who want to learn more about Battle Tested Consultant Agency, we've shared their website with us in the description on the YouTube channel, as well as a link to Bertrand's LinkedIn profile, so you can go through that as well. And we will be, doing some very exciting work together in the future, hopefully, at least in terms of sharing knowledge. So thank you, Bertrand, and here's me signing off. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn more about who we are and what we do, log on to www.cxoforum.global. Up until next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Anza, for having me here, and have a good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.